Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's question and answer session. Was that good? That was a good announcement, good intro. Whew, calm down, Nikki. So hyped at the beginning of videos, especially because this is my second attempt to film this Q&A. So, as a lot of you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram or even in like the community section on this channel, I mentioned that I filmed a Q&A a month ago and I basically just never got around to posting it. I started editing it and honestly, let me just pause. I haven't even watched the whole thing. So it might have been fine, but to those of you that make videos, maybe you know what I mean. Sometimes you just film something and you start editing it and you're just like, I can't even look at myself. That's very mean and I don't mean it in a mean way. I think the real reason is I'm just gonna be honest. I sounded a little too bitter in my last Q&A and I didn't like that and I don't think the world needs more of that right now. And so when I started vibing that off of myself, I was like, nah fam, we're gonna reshoot. Also, fun fact that is a horribly unfun fact, when I filmed that video, that is definitely what made me throw my back out. Like you guys know, I've been whining all over social media about this recent injury, throwing my lower back out. It was definitely that video because I was sitting in the weirdest position for like an hour and a half. So this time I'm sitting properly in a chair and I think I'm just spitting oatmeal. So I'm gonna try to talk quick, but you guys already know me. So there's no particular order to all of these questions, by the way. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right in. All right, so first question. How do you keep financial stability if AdSense affiliate income fluctuates? Oh, and affiliate income fluctuates, asking for a friend. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's up by this point. It probably should be, but Dan and I, this is like a two-part question. The first answer to your question is I don't know. We're gonna say the grace of God. That actually is the answer because I, in general, I feel like one of the talents and blessings that God gave me is the ability to know how to like figure out how to make money. One of the things that I'm extremely bad at is budgeting. And so we've actually recently signed up for You Need a Budget. I mentioned that in my 10 goals for 2021 video, but that's something that I kind of just would recommend everyone embark on because even if you have my personality type and you're someone that's pretty good at figuring out how to make money, kind of how to like, what's the word, get scrappy and figure out how to make some cash from all over the place. I'm now at a place where after doing this for 10 years, I can't really say that I like doing that anymore. And I love working. I love creating. I love it, but I don't want that pressure from a sliding income to follow me around, especially as I grow and birth humans that are higher priorities to me. So my honest answer to you is we've hustled. We've never depended on any type of set income. And we've kind of always just seen every month as its own month, unfortunately. Okay, I just switched out my battery because my camera died. So all of that being said, that little spiel about my life, what I would recommend if you are an online content creator or just someone trying to make a living online in general, what I'd recommend is nothing that's groundbreaking, and that is search to diversify. I think it's important to figure out how many different streams of income you can tap into and what things you're willing to do, what things you like to do, what things you think you have, to offer the world. Now, there's some really great coaches online who can really kind of help spell this out to you in a better way than I can right now in this Q&A. And honestly, even if it was a full thing, they could just do it better than me. One of those people is Sean Cannell. He's been a friend of mine for like the last, 8 years. And he has so many great tips on how to grow your online business in general. It's really geared towards content creators. But I think a lot of people online are content creators now. Even if you're selling a product, like there tends to be a content aspect to it. So Sean Cannell's a great one. And then someone else I discovered maybe like a week or two ago, I have to look up her name. Vanessa Lau. Oh, she's great. And I don't necessarily like watch tons of these types of channels by any means, but something about Vanessa, I was just like, I love you. So check out Vanessa Lau as well. She has so many great tips. Okay, I'm gonna jump into this one because it makes me happy. I would love to hear your take on your homeschool experience. I was a homeschooled kid too. I'm 37 now, and I find it interesting to hear others' stories since it was way less common back then. Okay, so yeah, I was homeschooled. I loved it. I went to a private Christian school from kindergarten until 6th grade. This is kind of the shortened version. Maybe I should do a whole separate, like, my homeschool story, or just more homeschool videos. But I had a horrible, I'm talking horrible experience at the private school that I grew up in. Pretty much everything about it I hated. I woke up every single day dreading going to school. And every year that the school year would start, there was always this like fresh, renewed hope of like, wow, this is going to be great. Like they pitch to you in TV and in movies, like back to school. And then I'd like, be so excited for my new life back at school. And then I'd go, and then like one weekend, the luster would wear off. But not in like, well, of course it's like back to school, then you're over it. But in like a really depressing way. Like I was just like, this is not the life for me. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't know. I don't think that just like growing up and going to school is like that's life. Everybody just like has a baby and then the baby goes up, grows up and goes off to school. Like I think that is an option in life, but I actually find it very odd that that is just what we all assume life has to be. And that's not necessarily slamming anyone that it's like, well, yeah, that's what they want to do. I just think it's odd in general in life when there's an assumption of what life has to be because of what modernity or just like, modernity has laid out for us now. It's not the way it's always been, and it doesn't even necessarily mean that nowadays is like the best life has ever been. That's a whole thing I'm not going to go off on. Side note, I just have to preface all of this while I keep going. I'm just going to start deleting comments again. So that's something that I mentioned in my last Q&A when I felt like I was way too salty. But I do need to say that again at the start of the Q&A because sometimes it's hard for me to talk because I've been on the internet for so long that I like already know what people are going to say back to me. And so there's this combination of like kind of tiptoeing around my words because I don't want to like upset people. But at the same time, I've been around long enough to know that anything you say will upset people. So I want to say that before I continue. Anyways, homeschooling. Yeah, I also think that there's this misconception that homeschooling means that you're home all the time or that your parent is your teacher. My mom taught me stuff, but a lot of my schooling was more so done under her guidance and supervision as opposed to her teaching. What she really guided for me, the way that I like to think of homeschooling and how we will be homeschooling our children is we want to be facilitators. Look at our kid, know our kid, hopefully we've been paying attention the whole time since he's been born, and serve him in his areas of weakness, in his strong areas. That's really the thing, is I really want to hone in on like, what do our children like to do? What are their natural tendencies? And then how can we help serve them with enough resources to learn and grow and move forward? Because I personally hold the belief that people and children are naturally born with curiosity. Everybody jokes that kids go, why, mama? Why? And I think that's because, like I said, we're all born with this natural sense of curiosity. And I think that there are a lot of people that don't fit into the typical school system, the way that they have formulated the hours and the schedule and the layout and the intensity level and the homework and everything. And what happens, I think, to a lot of those people is they're told either, or it's insinuated or kind of they're made to feel this way, that they're stupid. I mean, that was me. That they're not good at anything, and just made to feel really bad, when in reality, I don't think that it's like, well, you fit in this system or you're stupid. I don't think that the system is for everyone. In fact, I think that a lot of people would do better outside of that system. And that's simply because I don't believe that everybody learns the same way. And for me, when I left school in 6th grade, I frequently say this, I think that my homeschooling is one of the things that I'm the most grateful to my parents for, because I know my parents were scared when they did it. I remember when this conversation was happening between my parents, and just like you said in your comment, it wasn't as common back then. Now, granted, we lived in California, so there were a lot of homeschoolers because of the entertainment industry. But it wasn't as common. And my mom, will talk about how she was afraid, like, am I raising an idiot? Like, which, a hater watching might be like, yes, Susie, you did in fact raise an idiot. But she felt that way and she was nervous. And I say my dad too, but it was my parents' division of roles was really more that my dad was working and my mom was homeschooling. And it turned into like a whole thing, guys. Like, I went to community college when I was 14. You can do something called concurrent enrollment where you take a test so that they're sure that you can actually like float with the college kids. You're not like in the class being annoying and asking annoying questions, although I still did that. But you take a test to prove your scholastic level or whatever. And then I took classes at the college. And what that does when you take them in high school is 1 semester equals 1 year of that subject in high school. And then also you get those credits for your college degree. Now, I've mentioned this before. I don't have a college degree. I have like almost a college degree because I took so many college classes in high school that they all just kept adding up. But I don't have a degree. And technically, I don't have a high school diploma. I technically tested out. There was something called the California exit exam. A lot of kids in the entertainment industry that I knew, that's what they did. They took the test to, supposedly prove that they were okay to test out. And that's what I did. But I did that because I was working in entertainment back then, but I continued to take classes. So I think I technically tested out of high school at 16, but I took college classes all the way up until I was like 19 or 20, something like that. So my homeschool experience, homeschooling to me is very much about creating a custom education, not so much about like, it's about being at home. Like, yes, I want to be home, and I would actually like my kids to be home more than I was growing up. I don't want our kids to do as many extracurricular activities as I did. I did a lot of things. I was out of the house working on things probably 6 days a week. And I'm really grateful for part of that, the skills that I acquired. But I want to live a little bit of a slower life than that with our children. You guys know we want to have a homestead. Like, I did not grow up in a homestead, so it's a different situation. The lighting on this video is driving me insane. But that's how I view homeschooling, and that's how I view like my homeschooling experience, was more that it was a custom education. And I'm so grateful for that. A lot of people, I think, feel like going into a public school or a regular school system, part of that is that they can help you strengthen your weaknesses. But I think that can be done in a homeschooling custom education experience, especially when you are working with other people, whether it's a homeschool co-op or you're working with tutors or you're at a local community college like I was. I was not like the people that are anti-homeschoolers that are pitching homeschooling as like this, like, stay home, like claws around them kind of thing. I'm like, that was not my experience at all. What it more was that I was involved in a community that I wanted to be involved with. Whereas school, I was being forced to show up somewhere every day at the exact same time where I didn't want to be, where the teachers didn't like me, where I didn't have really any friends. And that's not just saying that. I have a friend in my life still that I met at that Christian school, and she'll frequently joke, I'm over here like getting my feelings hurt while she's joking, but that nobody wanted to be my friend. Like, I didn't want to be there. And so to get to leave that and go make friends I actually wanted to be friends with, learn things I wanted to learn, get more sleep when I needed some more sleep as a growing kid was just such a blessing. So that was a long spiel, but yeah, that was kind of the gist of my homeschool story. Okay, so this is funny. I have similar hair to yours and I love it. I love my hair now too. I was curious about what you use to keep it from tangling, and I was also curious about your ancestry. Like, who do you have to thank for your luscious locks? Okay, so a couple things. I just filmed a Let's Talk About My Hair video. It should be up now. If it's not, it's coming any day, but if it is, I'll link it down below, where I talk about all of the things that I do to deal with my tangles, just like my hair, how I style it, how my hair got like this, all that jazz. But that's funny you say that, because Dan and I were talking this morning and he was like, I just feel like you have to have like Arab in your lineage because your hair, man, it's crazy. But to my knowledge, we don't. To my knowledge, our whole family, like it's French, German, and English. So this is a good question. Advice for someone who is afraid of having children, probably because of a difficult relationship with my own parents. Work on yourself. I think that's the first thing. I've really enjoyed my time with my therapist over the years. And just, dealing with myself has been helpful. But one thing that she pointed out to me, now I want to say this carefully because I love my parents. Like anyone who knows me and knows my parents, I have amazing parents. And when we move closer to them again, which is going to happen whether we move to their state or they move here or we end up going to this other state we're considering, I will have to force my parents on camera more because I think they have a lot of wisdom that a lot of you guys would like to hear from them. That being said, Shauna Niequist, she's an author that I love, and in one of her books, she said that, she was referring to Christians, I think this is everyone, she was like, the job of an adult Christian is to fill the other half of the pie, meaning like you get half a pie as a kid, and like I said, I think this is everyone, and then you got to fill the rest growing up. So there is no perfect childhood, and I know that there's a spectrum of that, right? Like, I don't know your situation, so I don't know if you're talking about like extreme abuse or something like that. But that being said, there's no perfect childhood. And I had my own issues with myself, with my past, with my parents. And there was definitely a layer of that in the many layers of me potentially not wanting to have kids or bio kids at least. I knew I couldn't picture my whole life without children and without a family. But I guess the point is I feel ya, and I'm gonna tell you what my therapist said. My therapist was the first one to make it like abundantly clear to me, and this is Captain Obvious, but I'm just gonna say it to you. The way that your parents raised you, it doesn't mean that you're going to be that kind of parent. It doesn't mean that you're automatically destined to do that, or that like that's what they did, so you have to do this. And part of what is so beautiful, I think, about having kids is this ability to kind of like, it's not like you're recreating your childhood, because that sounds weird and a little unhealthy, but it is kind of like you do it again and you can do what you want. And so the things that I feel like I wish were different about my childhood, I can just do them differently. And I've already mentioned a lot of those things to you guys. You know, like I wish I was a little less busy growing up. One of the other things, my parents know this, I wish that my dad was home more. My dad had to he was out of the house for work. He wasn't gone all the time. I don't want to paint that he wasn't there. I'm obsessed with my dad, and I was especially obsessed with my dad growing up. But I wished that he was home more. So that's something Dan and I talked about when we were dating. So that's kind of what I really want to hit home to you, is really soak in the fact that whatever your parents did does not mean that you have to do that, or that you're even destined to do that. So yeah. Okay, how close or far apart would you like your kids to be? My son is an only child at 6 years now, and now I'm regretting not having another sooner. Okay, first off, I am 5 years apart from my second sibling, my sister, and 7 years from the third. And I'm not gonna lie, it is a little weird having that large age difference, or it has been a little weird. But I love my sisters, and the age difference I think is getting a little less weird or whatever the older that we get. Like as our life experiences are able to kind of cross more. Oh my gosh, I almost knocked over all my tea. That would have been devastating. But that being said, no regrets. That this is the family you're supposed to have. It is what it is. And if you are blessed enough and you decide to have a second or a third or a fourth or whatever, you can, kind of deal with the timing then, see if you want to have them closer, if that's possible for you. Now for us, I also talked about this in my 10 goals for 2021. I would like to be pregnant this year. I am 33 years old, as I have said to you guys, and I feel like a little bit of a Looney Tune because I went from not wanting a biological kid because of my chronic pain to literally wanting like 5. So where we're at is we're planning on taking it one kid at a time. But if that is even a possibility, if that's something that we're thinking we could do one day, I got to keep getting this show on the road because I only have so many years of fertility left in me. So that was kind of an all over the map thing just to say that we're hoping to be pregnant this year. I would just really like to I would like this back injury to subside because I don't want to say I'm miserable. I'm not miserable. I'm sitting here filming, but I'm low-key miserable. It really sucks. And also we're going to visit Dan's brother and my parents in their different states, which I'm still not saying yet. What? No, I can say where Chad's brother is. I already said it on Instagram. We're going to Texas. We're visiting him in Texas. So Texas is one of the places we are considering moving. I still don't want to say the other place though yet for a lot of reasons. So we'll see. Low key, one of the reasons I don't want to say where my parents are is because the real estate is so insane, right? This is so selfish, but I'm just being honest about my selfishness, guys. I don't want any of you looking at where I might be moving and buying at my house, which, I mean, I have to be honest, growing up, like when I would do acting auditions and stuff, I remember kids would like purposefully not tell other kids about auditions because they didn't want more competition for the part. And I thought that that was so dumb because I was like, if this is your part, if this is what God has for you, he will give you the part regardless of how many people are there. The sun is driving me insane, guys. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm not that sorry, but it's annoying me. But now I kind of agree with them in terms of this move. I'm like, all y'all don't need to know where I'm going till I'm there. Okay, did you get your period yet? I read pumping doesn't stop you from getting it. Super personal question, but I'm a new mom and I feel between us it's allowed. 100. No. I was literally having this conversation this morning with Dan. I was having this conversation last night with a friend. I'm trying to not worry about it. But I am getting to the point where I'm like, maybe I should like consider reaching back out to my midwife and talking to her because it is a little like, yeah, no, I haven't had my period back is the point. Now I'm at the point where I'm pumping, I'd say twice a day, morning and night. So that's where I've cut to now. I'm trying to wean. It's going, like the stash is going down. It's happening. But it is a little bit weird because I'm just kind of like feeling my way through the dark, waiting for my milk to dry up and like hoping my period comes back. But yeah, no. And even if my period doesn't come back, when we get back from visiting our relatives in those states, we're planning on trying to get pregnant because I know that just because my period is not back does not mean that I haven't been ovulating. And there's part of me that thinks that I have been because I have been feeling for months like my period was going to come back, like with cramps and stuff. And I'm like, I wonder if that's just been like ovulation pain. So yeah. People, you've probably read this everywhere. Everyone's periods come back at different points. And I don't even know. I was about to say I'm trying not to worry about it. I just don't even really want to think about it. Kind of like the pregnancy thing when it was time to get pregnant. I'm like, unless we have a problem here down the road, I was like, I don't want to really be like tracking my ovulation and like timing everything. I just want to like be intimate with my husband and have a baby, you know? And if like that doesn't work, we'll take it from there. And so that's kind of what's going on with my period. I'm just kind of assuming it's about to come back and we're just going to start trying to have a baby again. If I can't get pregnant, if my period doesn't come back, like we'll take it from there. But at this point, I'm just like, I don't know, man, I feel really healthy. I'm just going to continue trusting my body and see kind of what happens over these next couple months. So yeah.